How's it going? All right, I'm just getting my stream set up a little bit. What's up, Lucas Smith, Alien Vatos, Asani? What's up? Welcome, Stefan. Welcome, Andre. Welcome. What y'all working on today? How y'all doing? Wetzer, what's up, man? Is this the Wetzer who's gonna do that community project with me? What's up? Call me Izzy. Welcome. Eisenberg, welcome to the stream. Snake, welcome. Viva, welcome. Boy, you. Good night. Okay. I mean, we just started. We don't have to get off already. Do I know who Cody Rhodes is? I don't think so. Who's that? Yeah, what's I'll probably make a video just announcing it, and I'll make a chat, a community room. In fact, I guess I could announce it on the stream. If you guys want to join on a community project, we're gonna try to build out a not a web-based, a mobile app. I think we're using Expo. I haven't looked at the code, so Wetzer is someone who's kind of leading that with me. So we're gonna try to build out a community project where we can kind of like post food banks and other like charity things. People can find them and pin various stuff. So if you want to join in on that, join my Discord. If I was a good streamer, I'd give you the link to my Discord. I don't have it, so I have to go figure that out. Hold on. I should have like a bunch of links on standby. Okay, Discord link. Can I copy this link? All right, here's my Discord. You guys want to join that? Just be active in the Discord, and we're gonna start a community project soon. And hopefully not abandon it after 2 weeks, but you know how it goes. Run a software agency in CEE. Any advice on how to get new clients? I'm not really sure. I don't really do freelancing. Yeah, honestly, I just been kind of working on this Site Sensei project. Been doing a lot of like cleaning up the UI to make it look a little bit better. And so this is currently what I have. I got a nice little like dashboard page with some navigation buttons. I got the ability to add some context. Some chat sessions over here that you can kind of scroll back through. We've got a nice little insights page with some charts. Settings page, user account settings, and then a support that I need to add in. Yeah, I might just, you know, I'm just going to vibe code a lot of this stream, honestly. So why not? I have to remember where I put the support. Where's the support stuff? Hold on. Somewhere I have a support button. I think it's here. Here it is. We got a little button here. I'm going to go ahead and just paste this in. Please add a support page which has a form which a user can fill out to send or store a message in a convex support table, which I can then read. Please track the user ID who left the support message. And yeah, I don't know. See, we'll see. What am I building? I'm trying to build like a AI powered chat widget. Any advice on not changing your mind mid-project and ditching it? I don't know. I don't have any advice for that. If you can give me some advice, let me know. How hard was it for you, Cody, to go from Next to TanStack? I kind of struggled because I got used to the Pages server components. I don't know. I found TanStack really nice because, I mean, I use Vite and I built single-page applications for a while before I even used Next.js. So going back to TanStack, it feels like I'm just going back to that Vite world. And the only difference is, like, if you want to load data before, like on the server side, you just have to add a loader, or you can do like a before load if you want to do some type of like pre-checks to redirect them to a different page if they're not authorized, stuff like that. I find it really easy. I mean, yeah. If you have any like specific questions about it, I can answer them. Remix. Why is it trying to install Remix? Okay, so it's adding a support table. We got user ID, site ID, message status, open, close, created at. Sure. Create a support message. This is a mutation. People can add a support message. That seems good. We got a route for support page. Why is this not, hey, thanks for the follow. Why is this not actually adding the route? And also try to add clerk. Man, sometimes like when I vibe code, it just doesn't do well. Other days it does perfectly fine. Like it tried to bring in Remix. I'm not using Remix. It also tried to bring in clerk. I'm not using clerk. So it's like sometimes it gets kind of frustrating. It's like, why is it bringing in all this stuff? And then other days it like works perfectly fine. I don't know if it's because it's like a fresh brand new day. Use user. I guess I'll just have to do a little bit of real coding, unfortunately. What a drag. Port API, go ahead and import that one. User. Oh, this will be data. All right, user. All right, what is this one doing? I wonder if I reject this, is that going to revert this file? No. All right, let's see. There, support. Just need to add some client-side validation to this thing. Let me just make a new tab. Sometimes you got to make a new window when you're using Cursor because it uses old context, and I found that if it starts generating context that like you don't want, like it just had a bunch of clerk and remix stuff added to the context, I do not want that. So I'm going to start a brand new chat so it doesn't have that context. And I'm going to say refactor to add client-side validation with React, or so I use hook form. And then I'll let this kind of fill out the submit button while it's doing that. We could probably just go find that submit button because I want to use a real button. This is probably risky, changing code when the AI is about to modify the code. I'll let that finish up real quick. I don't know if it can replace devs or not, but it takes away the joy of programming. Yeah, that I agree with. Recently I've been forcing myself to just switch my mindset. It's not about writing the code anymore. It's about thinking at higher levels and just letting the code automatically write for yourself. It kind of sucks. I mean, I have a lot of enjoyment writing code and like refactoring code and stuff. Why is it trying to install this stuff? I already have this. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's not going away. But I guess the benefit is you can end up achieving much more now than what you could before. At least in my opinion. Some people will argue that that's not true, but I just don't agree with that. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I got like a max width going on here. Yeah, I don't want that. Why is my submit button always looking bad? Oh, it refactored it away. All right, let's see. There should be a loading button. I think it's called a loading button. Did I call it loader button or loading button? Loader button. Here we go. Disabled. I'm supposed to take like an is loading. Let's see. Was my Clack app not working? Hold on, I gotta turn that on. Helps me stay in the zone. All right, so I am using Convex for this, but I should have a support message now added. Cool. Now people can actually send me messages and I can get information about, okay, like what site ID are they on? What's the user ID? Stuff like that. I should probably also add a thank you message somewhere after they submit. So I'm going to go ahead and say, can you please add a thank you for your... Let me think about this. Please hide the form after successfully submitting and show text that says, we will reach out to you soon to fix your issue. The great thing about vibe coding is I can actually go back to chat and talk to you guys when it's like coding for me. Does it replace devs or decrease the amount of headcount needed? I think I don't see how it wouldn't. If you can have someone like me, I could probably have like multiple applications being built right now. Like I could just multitask between multiple applications, have bugs fixed on one, add a feature to the next, simply by just prompting it with like different cursor IDEs. And I'm going to move so much faster than a junior could ever move, I think. But you all tell me, if you guys are a junior engineer, have you guys tried like vibe coding? I've been getting some message and people saying that they're building out software that they don't even know how the code works, but they're building out projects and like making success with it. We need better AI-powered UI design tools that is less focused on code gen. You could build it. Do you think AI is a good tool for validating SaaS ideas? I mean, the only way to validate a SaaS idea is to get customers. Otherwise, you're just building something for fun, right? I think AI helps you move faster, for sure. What laptop am I using? I'm using a MacBook Pro. I think it's an M2 or M3. Handstack is fast for me, to be honest. What's cooking? Do you play video games or is vibe coding a fun? Yeah, vibe coding is the video game now. Do you feel like your skills kind of get worse if you abuse vibe coding? I don't think so, because what you don't realize is that the skill in coding is about being able to read code and read it really fast, right? I can load up any file in my code base and quickly understand it at a glance, like what's it doing, like what's, for the most part, unless it's like a super complex component or module, then like that would take some more time. But like right now, I think I vibe coded almost everything in this application, but I can also open up any file and within like 30 seconds or less, I could probably understand where certain things are on the page, how the backend works, is the backend written properly with authentication, stuff like that. So if you correlate skills with being able to manually write code, then yeah, I think vibe coding can kind of like destroy that. But if you think skills is about being able to debug and read code, then I don't know, probably not. Why AI always starts making mistakes after 50%? I found that when I started a new session, like this morning on the stream, the AI does terrible. I don't know if it's like building up context as I start coding and then it gets better. But like the fact that it tried to bring in Clerk and Remix, I don't see that when I'm like coding with it for a while. Anyway, let's just test this out. There we go. Thank you for reaching out. Submit another request. Look at that. Beautiful. Now I have a bunch of submit things. So now it's like, if I'm an admin of this site, how do I view these support messages? Maybe that's not even important. Some things that's not even important, I can postpone that. At least I have the messages in the database, and now I can like go and find users if I want to. Yeah, let me commit this though. One thing I noticed is that the support thing is not it's not highlighting when I select it. So I'm going to go ahead and just go to the route, find support. Okay, grab this. The support nav link is not showing the cool blue gradient like the others when it's active. Please add that. I mean, honestly, I could just go up here and find active props and then copy this code. I could probably also take this and abstract it away into a reusable type of thing. Or I could just click accept and go back, and now it's looking good. All right, what else do I want to work on? So this is the view when you first set up a project and you don't have any chats or anything, like there's no chat sessions. It kind of walks you through how you can get this set up on your project. And so I could just go ahead and grab this code and put it in the widget. The widget looks terrible, so I might actually like try to improve this a little bit today. So we are going to go to the widget, paste in that site ID, and then we're going to see if we can just like improve this a little bit. Can you please improve the styling of the widget? Which I think I need to actually do the other widget page to use a similar type of styling I used on my actual dashboard. And I'll paste it like the route, I'll paste it index. And then this should come back and look nice in a second. I think Next is a pretty cool framework. However, why is it that Vercel as a company gives off somewhat of a dodgy vibe? Yeah, I don't know. I think people just started hating on Vercel and then like became like a bandwagon thing. I mean, they're a good hosting company. Like if you think about it, like hosting their stuff on their service is super fast and easy. But people just hate on it all the time. It's crazy. Vibe coding won't be 100% perfect. You have to intervene. Exactly. The one thing I would like to ask, will we see you trying out Vue, Svelte, or other? No, probably not, honestly. I used to make Vue tutorials on my channel, if you didn't know that. Like, it's just pointless, right? Learn one framework or language and like just stick with it, because switching between Vue and Svelte, like you're not gaining many benefits. If anything, you're losing a community because React has like the biggest ecosystem. So switching over to Svelte, there's going to be stuff that you're not going to be able to find. Like you can't just npm install something and just start running with it. Versus React, I guarantee you there's a package you can npm install and it solves whatever problem that you want. Same thing with Vue. I've tried doing Vue. It's a smaller ecosystem. Half the packages are written in Chinese. And it's like, I'd rather just have stuff where like I don't even have to think about reading Chinese. Like it's in English, you know? Maybe it's gotten better since I've tried Vue, but back then it was like pretty rough. Nux, I always hear great things about though. AI-assisted programming should be limited to menial, trivial features only. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's subjective. Like, what is a meaningless? Like, what's a trivial feature? You know, was restyling this whole chat widget to make it look nice, was that trivial? To me, it's tedious. Like, I don't want to do that. I know how to do it. I can take an image of any type of website and I could rebuild it in Tailwind by hand. It just would take me some time. But instead, I could do it in 10 seconds, and now I have a nice looking widget. And I'm going to say what is the what type of pizza do you offer at your restaurant? I think this is indexing a pizza site, so I'm gonna go ahead and just click send. I need to add a loader to this thing, but I think at this point we should get back some information about the pizzas that we offer. Should probably format this as well. Let me start making a to-do list. So show us Sensei is thinking loader after a user submits a question. We should probably find a way to style the returned info better. Like maybe Markdown. The icon in the bubble is bad. Replace it. Like, is this Markdown? Yeah, it's trying to do Markdown. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and like not do these, but I'm going to grab these. Check this out. So there's my to-do list. I'm going to paste this in here. I just pasted in those two to-do items. You should go ahead and like start cooking on that. And then while it's doing that, let me go to the widget. Let me change the background color here real quick. I'm going to go style, say body, background. We'll make it something darker. What model am I using? I think it's using Claude 3.5. Do you think Cursor can navigate well acceptable over messy code bases? Yeah, I don't know. I think I always provide context. Like I know where the code is. I know what files, what I'm trying to change live in. And I always drag those files into the into the Cursor context window. Because I have seen Cursor mess up enough where it starts modifying files that I know it shouldn't be modifying. And so I've found much better results by just providing it the files directly or providing it the code directly that I know I need to modify if I was going to do this manually. And then Cursor like uses that to spread out and modify whatever else that I might need to be modified. Have you tested Copilot since they added agent support? I haven't gone back to Copilot. Like when Cursor came out, I just been sticking with Cursor. So until something else comes out that like is better, like a lot better, maybe there is something out there. I just haven't tried it. I got hired as a junior React dev 2 years ago and got assigned to work with Vue. AI has helped me a lot. Yeah. What am I using for streaming? OBS. Hey, what are you vibe coding? Just an AI chat application. I feel like coding non-UI related output better results compared to UI related output, especially if you have a design system. I feel like coding non-UI related outputting better result compared to UI related output. I've seen benefits for both, honestly. Like, how do you think I got to this design? I found a example online. I copied and pasted a picture and I said refactor my page to make it look like this, and then it did it. And then I went through and I refactored some code to make some like reusable components. Like this is called like a inner card. This little light gray is a dashboard card. And then I believe this is a panel. And so I have like these reusable things I can just use on every page now. And then once you refactor your code to use those reusable components, Cursor will pick up on that. And then when it makes new pages, it just automatically uses those for styling. So now if I wanted to change how like this inner card looks, I can do it and then it would be applied to every page. You know, I don't know why that, I don't know what my answer had to do with your question, but I found success with both back and front end with using AI. Like it's good. Cody, do you think that as TypeScript keeps getting better in the back end, it might replace Java? No, I highly doubt it. I think there's too many applications currently existing that were built in Java. Java's not going anywhere. And I don't think people would switch from Java to TypeScript. Like that's, in all honesty, that's a downgrade. Java has like much stronger type safety and type guarantees than TypeScript. So I don't think people will rewrite their backends to TypeScript. That would be kind of silly. What extensions are you using to get those colorful bars? Where am I? Rainbow Indent. It's called Rainbow Indent. AI is not a replacement for creativity, discipline in your brain. People who can't code or ship good products will still not be able to ship new products. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, like, we literally have this tool. This is like an industry-changing thing. You know, this is like a milestone in this industry, but people still don't use AI to code. It's crazy. Like we found this tool that makes you so much more productive, but yet people are still not using it in some capacity. And these are the people that are going to get fired. Like I'm not even kidding. Like the people who are not using AI, at least finding ways to apply it to their day job to be more productive. There's no way you're going to stand a chance against someone who's using it. There's just no way. Like I literally built this whole application with $10 of Cursor credits over like a period of 2 days. Have you tried Grok 3 new API for vibe coding? I have not. Vibe coding will never allow you to improve. Maybe. I don't know. I have a very skewed perspective on all this because I've been coding for so long that like me reading code is just like second nature now. But someone who's new to coding, like maybe only a year in, it's a different perspective, you know? Maybe vibe coding is just not going to be very useful to them. Sorry, I lost the chat. It like disappeared on me. The thing it can do is quite complex. Okay, which AI are you using? I'm using Cursor. I think Claude 3.5 is the model. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I used to care about typing, but now I don't. Like, I don't care about typing on my keyboard that much. Because half the features I add, I'm sitting in bed, and I'm just using one hand. I type out a prompt, I click enter, it creates all the code for me. I review it sometimes, and then I accept it, and then I have a new feature. When are more system design videos coming soon? I don't know, is there anything particular you want to see about system design? I kind of did one today about like embeddings, if you want to watch that one. But I've been using Grok for coding and it works better than anything else. Do you have any tips on how to use AI to help you learn faster? I mean, if you want to learn the code, just start like using Copilot or something. Like, let's say I wanted to learn Rust right now. I go install Rust. I start writing some Rust code, and then I'd write comments and say, write me a for loop. And then that would bring in some Rust code of a for loop. And then I highlight it and say, explain it to me. And then just do that. Just keep doing that. And you'll learn the syntax of a language. And then you'll slowly get exposed to new things. Every time you see a term in Rust that you don't know, like the borrow checker, you go and you paste that into your AI and say, what is a borrow checker in Rust? It explains to you. Maybe it'll spin out 20 new terms you never heard about. Highlight every one of those terms and ask, what does this term mean? What does that term mean? Like the same approach when you're like reading a book and you come across terms you never knew. Like you have to go and understand them. Use AI to understand Chinese. Okay, that's cool. I've had 3 internships with Vue, but find it difficult to find better opportunities. Did I pivot to Next or React? I mean, it doesn't hurt to have it under your belt to say that you know how to code with it. I use something called Clack app. Is SaaS business worth it, and what SaaS idea do you recommend? I mean, yeah, it's worth it if you can get customers. The keyboard I'm using is called Clack app. It's a virtualized keyboard. So it's not a real keyboard. It just plays sounds as I type. I'm just using my MacBook Pro laptop keyboard though. I think in the long term, it's going to be a matter of choice where some devs will use AI to generate entire with the chat agnostic thing of others. But there's just so many more pros to using AI than not. How do you deal with burnout while working remotely? I sometimes feel like I don't want to sign into work. If I do, spend my entire day procrastinating and waste lots of time. Yeah, I mean, you just have to treat your job as a job. Like that's your responsibility. You wake up, you be a man, you do the job. So don't procrastinate, you know? Especially if that job's paying you a salary, you get a paycheck, like you want to keep that job, right? So I don't know, I guess get a wife and kids or something. I think that'll keep you motivated and not get burned out when doing your job. But it still does come. You're like, man, I really don't want to do this, but you just do it anyway because you have to. Still dumb and needs more context. I chat after 50,000 tokens. Can't remember the chat you with Gemini 3.5. Hey, thanks for the sub. Insanity later. If you don't mind explaining, how do you make the chat widget able to be included via script tag and other sites? Yeah, so how this works is on any HTML page, you just have to import the script, okay? The script assumes you have some configuration set up already as a global. I'm still thinking that this is the best way to do it. Technically, I could probably actually do this. This actually might be a better idea. Yeah, that's a much better idea. I might do that. But anyway, the reason we're doing this is because there's a JavaScript widget. This widget basically creates a bunch of styles, and then it injects it into the page, and then it also creates a bunch of HTML and injects it into the page. And then it's just a bunch of vanilla JavaScript to basically send the chat sessions to my backend, to fetch new chat messages when the AI finishes. I think it just has an interval. Maybe it's every 5 seconds or something. Yeah, every 3 seconds. Probably do 5. Technically, I could probably do WebSockets, but there are some browsers that have WebSockets disabled, so doing some type of polling might be a little bit better. Could probably figure out a way to do long polling too. Yeah, but that's how it works. Basically, just run a bunch of JavaScript code to dynamically inject that thing. Refactor the widget to take in a site ID, which will inject the site ID into the code that is returned from my backend. It was supposed to show, oh, I didn't, do I do a hard refresh? Hold on. What is the most expensive pizza you have? Yeah, it's not showing the loader. So, what are the 2 to-do items I told it to do? Update the chat icon. It did update the chat icon. This looks pretty good. You guys can't see it, but it's down there, I promise. Actually, let me show you guys. This is what it looks like. So before it had like a weird SVG. Now it actually has like a real icon. Now I need to get a loader. I'm still not seeing a loading indicator after a user submits a message. Please add one in the chat history to make it seem like the AI is thinking, and remove it when the new messages come in. By using Cursor on one of your most complex projects, maybe your SaaS starter kit. It feels like, I mean, it works better on the starter kit because every single page is written the same way. And so when I say, hey, Cursor, add a modal, it just grabs an existing page, copies and pastes like the same dialogue code I have, and it uses it on the new page. So the more code you have and the better consistency you have with the code, the better Cursor does, in my opinion, at least for web applications. And then, of course, you can always make README files or Cursor rules that explain your code a little bit better in case it starts like messing up. When the new message came in, it removed the placeholder indicator, but the new message never showed up. I mean, this widget has probably reached the point where it's going to be very hard for AI to improve it. It's 500 lines of code. But we'll see. Do you sell calzones? And of course, I need to come through and like add little avatar images to these things and make it look like a real chat window. But yeah, this is much better. This is much better. Let's just go ahead and say improve the widget styling and show loading indicators. I don't like it. See, is it using Times New Roman or something? I really don't like that font face. Styles chat widget. Okay, so I need to figure out if there's like a top level component here. Button, chat widget button. Chat widget container. Okay, so that's the one I want to style. And then I want to say font family. Enter built-in. That looks much better. Okay. Much better. Let's see. Changing the font family. All right, let's go back to chat. I'm not recommending amateurs to use it if they want to learn coding. I'm recommending senior devs to use it and be a lot more efficient. Yeah, I mean, there's some fundamentals you need to learn before you just start diving into using Cursor and AI. Like, you need to know the syntax of the language. You need to understand basic like styling. Like what I just did 2 seconds ago, I went in and just manually added a styling because I found that much faster because I know how to do it than like prompting AI and then waiting for 30 seconds and then spending money on tokens. It's like, bro, if it's like a one-line code change and you know it's super simple, just go do it yourself. Like, it was not hard for me to figure out what was the container widget. And then I just learned, like, this was code I have not even looked into. I don't know how this code works at all. But I went and I found what the top level container is now. And through doing that, I've seen that there's other classes that I get used to learning. So now I'm slowly learning the code that was generated. And then I went and I found that styling. And then I added the font family. I still don't know how this code works, but I could spend some time learning it because I used to write vanilla JavaScript. And so I'm not concerned about it. And I know the inputs and the outputs of it. Like, I understand the security, like security wise, where are things I need to be concerned about? Probably it's connecting to a remote URL here. I need to know about the fetch requests it's making. And then the data that comes back from these fetch requests is probably getting injected into the page somewhere. And so I should be very cognizant about that stuff because I don't want it injecting just any type of HTML into the page. So I should probably come back at some point and do a little security check on this stuff to make sure when it appends these messages, which is right here, that it's not just creating like arbitrary HTML and injecting it. It looks like it's actually creating a div, which is good. And then it sets the inner text of that div somewhere, which is also good because it's not doing inner HTML, it's doing inner text. So the only thing it can display is text, and then it appends it to the page. So it feels like it's pretty secure, but you're not going to be able to do that. What I just did, you won't be able to do that unless you have experience with like analyzing code and reading it. I think that's the takeaway. It's like you still need to learn how to do the code, but at the same time, you're going to be asked to be productive and ship features. And I don't think saying, you know, after 5 days in your stand-up that you're still trying to figure out how to do something that a senior dev can do in 10 seconds. Like, you got to figure out a way to be productive, but also like keep learning when you're on the job. I believe. What mode do you use for Cursor? I usually get stuck with a mode agent that changes name variables in entire code. I use agent mode. The only problem is I feel like I'm not learning when I let Cursor do it. Yeah, I mean, are you reviewing the code? If you're a beginner, you should still be reviewing the code. I mean, you should always be reviewing the code. Beginner, advanced, intermediate. You don't want some arbitrary code injected into your code base that you don't know. What's up? I don't know what you just said, but welcome. What's up, Boofa CS? All right, I'm just going to scroll to the bottom. So if I missed, oh, Stephen Freeborn, how's it going? He's another YouTuber. Sorry, I'm going to skip all you guys. It's too much chat. But you're still using Railway for your deployments. I started using it half a year ago after your recommendation. It's super cool. I wonder whether you have some cons of using it. Yeah, I still use it. I still host my applications on Railway. I have some stuff running on a VPS, like my course platform. That's on a VPS right now. All my other stuff is on Railway. At least the Next.js applications and the Handstack Start applications are on Railway. And then depending on what the project is, like if I'm using Convex for my backend, then I just connect the Convex on that. Icon Generator uses a Postgres that's in Railway. Actually, no, Icon Generator uses a MySQL instance that's on Railway. Another project I have is a SQLite database that's a volume mount inside of Railway. I think one of the projects uses Postgres. Anyway, yes, to answer your question, I use Railway a lot still. I think it's like the best experience when it comes to spinning up a project in a VM and stuff. What tech stack companies use? It depends on the company. A lot of bigger companies use AWS for everything. Smaller companies might use something like Vercel or Netlify or Railway. Cody, when you started, what was your first job and how was your first month on the job? First job I was on an internal research and development team. Basically, we were trying to rebuild a satellite ground system. So like there's satellites in the air, they stream data down. We had to take that data, we had to process it with algorithms that scientists would send us. And we had to write it in Java and basically do a native call down to their Python code, because all the scientists only knew how to write Python. So they write their algorithms in Python. We take the data from Java, we pipe it into like system calls to run that code. We get the results back, and then we store that into like the databases and stuff. It was a really cool project. Honestly, I didn't feel like I really knew what I was doing half the time. So that's my first year experience. You know, it's like you learn more in your first year of a job than you do like 4 years of college or anything else. Do you use MCPs? Would you use? I haven't used it yet. I'll probably play around with it at some point. I don't like the idea of having an IDE automatically invoke stuff on your computer, or giving your IDE access to like remote databases. There's something about that feels kind of scary. I guess if it's a developer database, it's fine. But I think I'll probably make a video on it soon when I actually try it. I just haven't had a chance to try it or research MCPs. If you want to learn, consider my advice. Works for me at least. Switch off any LSPs, AI, anything. Go raw and build the muscle memory. That will help you during an interview and at work too. Yeah, I mean, I haven't done an interview in so long, so I don't know. Do people still make you code without AIs on interviews? I think there's certain things you should be able to do without having AI. Like, can you make an array and loop over it? If you're struggling with that syntax, like you just need to uninstall all AI stuff. What's up, Igor? How's it going? You know, can you make a function? Can you invoke that function? Can you pass arguments? There's certain primitives of every programming language that you need to understand. And solving certain problems without having to dive into AI is a necessity. You know, basic styling. Can you center a div? Certain like little, they're almost like litmus checks, like just to make sure you actually understand like some of the core functionality of CSS, JavaScript, whatever. But then anything after that, it's like, okay, obviously you put in some type of hours to learn the thing. Now I just need you to be productive and ship stuff. I've been streaming for like 54 minutes. Okay. Have I built stuff with C++ or C? Just in college. I played around with like Visual Studio. I tried to build Half-Life 2, like the Half-Life 2 engine. I tried to build that in C++. I was trying to become like a modder, like a game modder, but it was way above my head, so I gave up. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, Centering a div is actually easy, but people joke about how it's so hard. It's literally Flexbox and you just center it. That's it. Sometimes you might even have to make the parent container be a full screen height, H of screen or whatever. But it's like the stuff like that. If you ask that and someone can't answer it, to me, that's apparent that they haven't really built out much. Because these are things that you encounter so often. Like centering stuff with Flexbox is by far the most important thing that you're going to end up doing. And if you don't know how to do that via muscle memory, I would have some, I guess, some red flags. And I'm not trying to be gatekeeping. I'm just saying that there's certain things, even like in JavaScript. Let's say I'm interviewing you for a JavaScript position or TypeScript. And I give you a collection. I say, can you loop over this? And you're struggling to remember the syntax for doing a for loop. Like, that's a red flag, you know? Like, that should be a 5-10 second thing you code up. Not, I'm watching you struggle adding semicolons and you put the semicolon in the wrong place and you forgot to do a you know, I++ at the end. Even that, even like the centering a div thing, like in an interview, after they solve it with centering the div with Flexbox, one thing I could be like, okay, now show me another way you could do it. And then they bring out MX Auto, you know, give it like a width, max width 2XL, something like this. If they did that and did that in an interview, like that'd be pretty good. I'm like, at that point, I'd be like, okay, this guy knows his Tailwind. This guy knows his styling. How do you handle auth for single sign-in using Clerk, Cognito, etc.? If you want the easiest way to do it, I mean, just install like a third-party auth service like Clerk. But I want my stuff to not be coupled to anything as much as possible. So I'm just using like, I think this is using Auth.js behind the scenes. Convex has like an auth component. And it's not like, technically this project is coupled to Convex. But I don't have like auth coupled to another service. I'm trying to reduce how many services I depend on. I haven't tried Tailwind v4. I really don't even know what's new about it. So I have to go read about it. Why is this chat deleting messages? Are you trying to add a link or something? Sniper says, I like using better auth while some were saying Clerk. I am opposed to a company managing all my users, and if ever they go offline. Yeah. I haven't tried better auth yet. I keep hearing good things about it. I just been burned so many times using like these third-party auth libraries, and then within a year they're like deprecated or no longer maintained, or you try to customize them to do something simple and it's like, well, you can't do it with this library. So then I just reached the point where it's like I just do everything manually when it comes to auth. Like, well, not manually. Like I try to use like Arctic and Oslo. I don't know if those are maintained either, but thoughts on Anthony GG? Would he be considered an indie hacker? I would consider him an indie hacker or a solopreneur, you know? Like trying to be a self-made man. It's respectful. He stuck to his stock thing for a while, so that's good. I think he has also what I have, like jumps around from project to project to project. But I think recently he's been sticking to his stock visualizer. So it's been fun watching him build that out. There's now Better Auth, which is, as far as I know, it's not tied to a service. Yeah, there's Better Auth. I just haven't tried it. People keep saying it's really nice. It's just like, man, I was spent so much time trying to use NextAuth, and then it switched to Auth.js, and now it's like been in beta for a year, and I'm like just kind of burned out with auth libraries just not being maintained. And so when like I hear Better Auth, I'm like, it's just another thing I have to go learn that's going to be deprecated in 6 months. How you interviewed before, how much incompetence or overconfidence you face as a percentage? What was the silliest? I don't really interview people, I'll be honest. I don't really interview people. Out of the people I have interviewed, like, usually it becomes very apparent really fast with like a 30-minute meeting when they can't like really discuss the lingo and they don't seem like they're really like knowledgeable in what they're saying. Like it just comes out naturally. Like you can literally just have a discussion with a developer, engage their experience by the way they speak. I've seen some that are like, obviously it's a no for me, like absolutely no. And there's others that are like, okay, this person actually is a critical thinker and like seems like they know what they're thinking about. Have you tried Pocket Base? I don't think so. I think I've maybe tried it once. Like a Supabase, like open source thing, right? That you can self-host. What would be the best place to learn Next.js? And should I do it if I already master Laravel? I mean, I guess I wouldn't see the benefit of learning Next.js if you're already a master of Laravel. Laravel's a great ecosystem, a great server-side rendering framework. And then you can still use inertia to do like React, right? So if I was a master at Laravel right now, I would probably not switch over to Next.js personally. I wouldn't do it. It's great. You can config entirely with Tailwind CSS without JavaScript. Oh, I think I've seen some of that. Am I doing that in this project? Where like inside of your CSS, you can actually import plugins? Yeah, I might be using Tailwind 4 right now. Yeah, I'm on 4.1.3. So I think, yes, I am using Tailwind. I do have a Tailwind config still, though, which I think is not the proper way to do it. So I have to spend time trying to figure that out. I'm sure AI just automatically plopped that file in. Why do they recommend not creating your own auth? I mean, it can get kind of tricky when you're dealing with like email password auth. Like you could do it yourself, but think about an email password. You're going to have a registration form where a user has to type in an email, and then you have to send out a verification code. So you have to hook into some type of email service, and then the verification code, it has to expire after a certain amount of time. So you need to make sure you're properly doing that. You need to make sure your token is like a proper length. And then when they click on the link in their email, you then have to create that logic to basically validate that the token hasn't expired. And then if it's good, you verify and you approve their account. Same thing with the password resetting. You have to implement all that logic. You have to make sure that the passwords you're saving need to be stored with like a salt and a hash. So it's just like a bunch of stuff that you need to make sure you're doing correctly. It's not hard to do. And AI could probably do it for you. You have to add in some type of rate limiting because you don't want someone to basically spam your login with random passwords. So then that's another thing you got to make sure you're doing properly. Like you should probably lock their account after 3 attempts or 5 attempts with a bad password. You got to add in a change password functionality, a reset password functionality, a forgot password functionality. Now, if you're just adding in like Google OAuth, like that's super simple. Like usually it's just like you make one endpoint that does some stuff with the cookie, calls the Google service, and then you're logged in, right? But yeah, with your own auth, again, like you have all these other things that you didn't think about that you might need. Multi-factor authentication. What if you want to be able to sign in with like the Google Authenticator? What if you want to use passkeys? Like the list just keeps going, and then using an auth service starts to make more sense when you don't want to spend this time like implementing this stuff by hand. I really like Lucia before. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm using in my other projects. No, I'm not using Lucia. I'm using Oslo and Arctic, basically. Have you tried LocalStack to build an app against AWS but test locally? And the API seems interesting because I really don't like to spend money during development. I haven't tried it, but I do agree running AWS equivalent mocks locally is a must when you're dealing with AWS. For example, many of the projects I worked on, like we always have an S3 bucket. So I'll have a local service that runs and has like the same API as S3. I think Mini.io is one you can use. But I think LocalStack is just much more like feature rich. Like I think they have a bunch of other stuff that you can basically run locally. But I just like to mock stuff out. Like for example, if you're coding for Lambda, there are some like, variants with how that actually is going to work when you run it in Lambda versus when you run it locally. But I don't want to have to actually like invoke a real Lambda to do my development. I don't have to wait on deploying that stuff. So I just kind of like run it as is locally. And then I'll just debug it if it runs into issues when you deploy it. Like DynamoDB, that's another thing you can run locally. And I don't think you need LocalStack to do that. Like AWS provides like a DynamoDB Java file that you can run. I'm trying to think what other services you might need from AWS to run locally. What are your thoughts on TANSAC Start for production? Have you found some reasons not having it in prod? I think the only hesitations I have is that it's still beta. But so far, it's been a joy to work with. Like, it's just super responsive and snappy. Yeah, I guess I'd be waiting for it to get out of beta, and I feel more confident pushing it to production on like a real work application. How much AI tools increase your productivity? 5 times, 10 times? That's hard to say. I mean, it definitely like, for example, I don't know if you saw in the stream, I just basically had AI one prompt refactor the styling of this whole widget. Doing this by hand probably would have taken me 30 minutes to an hour, maybe more, to make it look nice. I'd have to go and find a reference image, and then I have to go through all the styling and like make sure everything is nice. Add the add the background, add the border, make sure the colors and the fonts are good. It's a lot of tedious work. And so if that would have taken me an hour and AI did it in 30 seconds, how much of an improvement is that? Let's just say it would have taken AI a minute and it would have taken me an hour by hand to do it. So that's a 60 times improvement, right? And so you keep adding up all these little wins. So, it took me 1/60th of the time to style the widget. It took me 1/20th of the time to add in this page. It took me 1/5 of the time to add in the support thing. So averaging, I don't know, maybe 10, 20 times faster. If I was like seriously not talking to chat right now and like goofing off, I'd probably have a bunch more features added by now. Honestly, I don't bother with email and password. I just roll in with OAuth. Yeah, I don't even want to use email and password personally. Like if there's a site that doesn't have Google login, I just don't even sign up for their service anymore. Because it's like the amount of additional steps you're providing a user to have to do to sign up, it's so annoying to have to go and add in an email and then go check my email and then click the verification link. And then I have to like remember the password, so I end up saving it somewhere. Like I understand there's some users who want to have like a throwaway email to use for your service. But I have Icon Generator and I have 174,000 users who have signed up for that. And the only authentication I have is Google. That's the only way you can use that app. But I managed to get that many users with it. So I just don't think email and password is even necessary at this point. As long as you can trust Google and Google's not going to like delete your application, because that would kind of suck if they did that. You're putting all your eggs into like the Google Auth basket, I guess. Do you have a video tutorial to use Google OAuth with Next.js? Yeah, I mean, you can check out using Auth.js or BetterAuth. Go check out BetterAuth. I haven't used it, but people say it's good. Next.js or TanStack for the future goals of this channel, as most of the viewers of your channel are Next.js ones, I guess. So any, will there be any Next.js content, like doing full stack? The honest truth is I'm kind of tired of Next.js. I think I like TanStack a lot better. And so I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be making Next.js content on this channel anymore, to be honest with you all. I still have my Next.js starter kit, and I need to go back and like finish that up. But yeah. Cursor suggested me to use GPT-4 and GPT-4 Turbo instead of 4.0 Mini. That was my brain rot moment. All right, what else am I doing? What other features do I need to add in here? Does anyone have a website that has like a decently sized sitemap that I could like try testing on crawling? I could also add in the ability to delete a site. Maybe that's what I'll do now. Let's just vibe code it, you know? So let's go to settings. See, I know where the file is. I don't have brain rot yet. So when they click on this button, there's a form. I need to call handle form submission. So here, I have a to-do. Look at that. Please finish implementing the logic to have the user's site deleted and all associated data with the site deleted when they submit this form. This needs to include deleting all chats related to the site, all chats messages related to the sessions, all context entries related to the site. Is there anything else that I'm missing? We got support, chat messages, we have pages. Oh yeah. That's the one downfall of using something like Convex, is that they don't have like a add a convex mutation to do all of this. Oh wait, all files that might be attached to the contexts. We'll see how this does. Anyway, yeah, so like if I was using Postgres, you could do like a cascade delete. You kind of have to do stuff a little bit manually when you're using Convex, but it's not that big of a deal. Cascade delete has its own issues, right? My phone might die, by the way. It's got 5% battery. That's a good idea. Have I tried adding books or PDF and software architecture design patterns? Yeah, I'll grab a bunch of Java books and I'll put it in so that I can make my TypeScript look like Java. Are you using TanStack Form? No, right now I'm using use form hook. I haven't tried TanStack Form yet. Have you? Do you find it like better than use form hook? Do you mock up things in Figma before building, or do you just start with... No, I don't mock anything up. I just build. And then when I think a page looks bad, I'll just ask Cursor to make it look better. Sometimes I'll go on Dribbble. Dribble's a pretty good site to get inspiration for like web design and all this other stuff. And I'll find a site that looks pretty nice and I'll copy a screenshot and I'll say, can you make my site look like this kind of, but change the colors to make it like more of my, you know, my colors. Try the Apple site. Okay, that's too big. That's gonna have a lot of stuff. I want something with like maybe 20 links or something. I'll probably find like a mom pop shop type of restaurant chain. All right, let's review this code. So it calls delete site, it calls use mutation, that calls this. This is going to make sure that I'm the site admin, and then it's going to go and delete all the chat sessions. And then it deletes all the messages from the chat sessions. This is not good. This should probably be a promise all, make promise all. The little command K refactoring there. Awesome. Delete the session itself. This could be a promise all too. Make a promise all as well. Look at that. So for every chat session, get all the messages and then delete them all. And then delete the session itself. Get the context. Okay, same thing. Make promise all. So you still got to know what you're doing, right? If you want to make performant code. The AI didn't know to do that stuff. Delete the make promise all. Man, this AI really just wants to do stuff the slow way, huh? All right, let's test this out. So now I have this your test. I can go here to settings, delete it, type confirm to confirm. Interesting. Why is that not working? I think this is the wrong page. Type confirm to confirm. Why is it not deleting though? I don't know if that's implemented. Instead of asking us to type confirm, please ask them to type the name of the site and verify they inputted that correctly before deleting. I feel like it already does though. Confirm site name. It's just not being used anywhere. Because I already have the site, don't I? Do I have the site somewhere? I think it has to add a query, and then that query has to be used here. And it has to validate that the confirm site name matches the actual site name. Imagine job postings next year. Ability to vibe code. I mean, I personally think that should be on the job posting. Has experience using AI-powered IDEs. Like, no offense, if you come to me and you're like, "Hey, I don't use Copilot. I don't use any of that AI stuff." Okay, well, good luck. Okay, I might switch to TANSAC form then. I just need to spend like time learning it, and then I'll probably refactor to it. One second, let me check something. Okay, anyway, let's see if this thing work. It's still cooking. I don't know what it's doing. But it should get the site. User ID get auth. What is this? Oh, this already returned null. Just do a little bit of cleanup there. I noticed that the authentication was the old approach. Should probably do a little to do. Okay, anyway, let's just make sure this is working. I don't know why it took so long to do that, but it should have gotten the site, and then it should use that site, which this one, I don't want to use a convex query. It's getting really confused since there's two functions called useQuery. So I need to actually use the TanStack one, and this will be a convex query like this, which I can wrap. And then I should have the site, which this would probably need to be site.site. Interesting. What's going on there? Oh, it returns site. Is that going to return undefined though? Yeah, let me do this. A little bit weird there, but whatever. Okay, anyway, so this should actually ask me now if I want to type in your test, confirm. I don't like the contrast there. It's kind of hard to read, honestly. Why is this not... Oh, I was modifying the wrong one. There we go. Your test. Why can't I delete this though? If the confirmed site name is not equal to the site name, I should disable it. Okay, that blue is bad actually. Oh, what is going on here? Confused. For some reason, the button still stays disabled even after typing in the site name correctly. See if I can race AI to it. If the site is not that, even it's confused. You know, let me just stop this, and I'm going to reject this real quick. Okay, so it's not updating. As I type into this, it's not actually updating the form state. So I think there's an issue with how I'm doing this. Form.field. Is this using TanStack form? Yeah, I think there's like one of the forms I told it to use TanStack form. Handle change field. Yeah, I don't know how TanStack form actually works though, so I might actually refactor this. How many places am I using this? 3 different pages. It's like not updating at all. Is that a bug in Tanstack form? Honestly, I don't care to fix this. So I'm going to say refactor to instead use form hook. Boom, there's my solution. The only real downside and strongest argument against using AI I see is that relying on AI too much can make you lose the edge. Yeah, I don't know. It's like the same argument of like, you shouldn't rely on Stack Overflow to get work done because when Stack Overflow goes down, like you'll just be able to not do anything all day. How often did Stack Overflow go down? It like never did. Maybe one day. Like no matter what, we've always been reliant on something to get the job done because no one in this industry actually has everything memorized. There's just too much stuff to remember to be productive. And I'm sorry, sitting here and like writing lower level for loops and all this stuff by hand and spending a month implementing something when you can npm install it and get it done in 5 seconds, like that's not what you're going to get hired to do, honestly. Like I know a lot of people like building their own stuff, but when it comes to business, we want you guys to be productive, and you're leveraging third-party libraries that already exist and have like tests and have been in the industry for like a year now is always going to be the better option. So yeah, you're always going to end up depending on something or something else to get the job done because it's just the way everything is built on top of like, you know, it's like a giant castle and we're just building on the very top. But the whole foundation has already been like laid out before us that we have to basically build upon. Let's see. Okay, this works fine. I don't know. There might be an issue with Tanstack form I just don't understand, but let's try this out. Delete the site. It should have deleted this. Let's go ahead and just delete all these other ones. I'm going to go ahead and just delete all of them, actually. Okay, now we're back to the onboarding experience. If I go to my data, we should have no sites. They're all gone. We should have no pages. These are probably some like leftover things, I'm hoping. Contexts, empty. Chat sessions, we have a couple. It's kind of interesting why those are still there. So I might have to go and just make sure that that's actually working. Support users. Okay, anyway, so let's make a new, let's pretend like we're onboarding a new site. 525 pizza. I don't know what that site was called. I think it was this 525 Pizza Company site map. Start crawling. That should kick off my crawling process and download all of the context from every page. Okay, we're done. Go to the dashboard. Let's go ahead and add this site to my widget, which we can go to the widget. We can add this in. It'll be a new site ID. Refresh. What pizza do you sell? There we go. Then we should have some chat sessions. Here we go. We can see the list of information. Go to the pages. That's all good. Context. Let me add one just in case. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to manually delete this again. Make sure it clears out everything. All right, messages are gone, sessions are gone, text, contexts are gone, pages are gone, sites are gone. All right, this looks good. I guess Tanstack form is, I gotta learn it. Convex like a Supabase alternative? No, I mean, it's a backend as a service as a reactive database, but it's like way better than Supabase in my opinion. Supabase is like a little abstraction on top of Postgres. Convex is like an entirely new concept that like you just have to experience it to understand like what good developer experience looks like. Like for example, what was it called? 525 Pizza Company or something? Like, I guess I question you. How much work would it take to create a flow that crawls a sitemap, spins off multiple concurrent processes to hit every page, download the HTML, parse it, convert it to Markdown with open AI calls for all these different pages, and then store those, vector, make a embedding on all the content it just parsed, so that later I can come back with my widget and I can ask a question and it's going to return me all the information. Like this was so easy to add in Convex. It's not even funny. Same with file storage, it's like built in. Example page with a sitemap. I'm going to try to find a page with a larger sitemap. Like, what is a good website? Big Mama and Papa's Pizza. Okay, this one looks good. I got a new one. Let's go here. Actually, I can go here and just add a new site here. Another pizza company. This one has a lot more in the sitemap, so we're gonna do a little stress testing to see how this does. Yeah, we got all this stuff. And then let's go back and just attach that to my widget. And refresh my widget. And then we can ask it a question. For example, text deals. What's this? Like I can ask the widget any question about any of this stuff. The ultimate guarantee. Do you all provide some type of refund if I'm not happy with my pizza? Let's see if it returns something about that ultimate guarantee. Wow. So now I literally have like, what was that, 20 pages? 22 index pages. I can ask a question and get information about anything. What drinks do you all serve? Nice. Big Mama and Papa's Pizza. Yeah, so Unbeatable Gamer, that's what I'm building. Ask something outside its scope. Okay. How can you write a for loop in Rust? I think it'll probably still answer that question. So technically they could use this and just chat directly with Claude. But that's a good question. Should it actually try to answer the question if they can't find context for it? I could try to add that in real quick. Let's see. Let me go to my agent file. We're going to do a little bit of real coding this time. We're going to change the prompt engineering. Here's a conversation. Okay, let's just add in, I'm going to do this. Here are helpful AI assistants for a website in charge of answering questions about the website. Please follow these rules. And then this one, if you don't find relevant information in the context, can you provide a general response? I'm going to say, do not make up an answer. Just say you don't know. Okay, let me save this file real quick. It should take like 3 seconds to recompile and deploy. And then I'll ask the same question. So are we going to have the updated agent code? I don't know. I'm sorry, but I didn't find any related information on this site for that topic. Bro, how much do you guys want to pay for this? $10 a month? $20 a month? Like, what you guys want to pay? I just got a Vibe Code Stripe subscription, and it's on. Like, I'm gonna make this go live. I'm just kidding. There's a lot of stuff I want to tweak on this, but I'm hoping this will actually be useful. And then I'm gonna try to also see if I can have it like let me add it to do. This will be for the actual like features. I want the ability to manually add in a page URL. That's something that I don't have, and I think it'd be very useful. Eventually, I want to be able to have people like the TanStack docs. Let me go there. Hold on. TanStack docs. Do they have a sitemap? I don't see a sitemap on TanStack. People don't put sitemaps on their stuff anymore, huh? But yeah, I guess one thing I really want to be able to do is like give it docs and have it automatically crawl the docs. Right now it can't automatically crawl, like it needs a sitemap. So I'm curious like where, if there's even a sitemap here anywhere. I mean, does like Next.js have a sitemap? Sorry, I'm Googling on another screen. Okay, Next.js has a sitemap. We could try that one. It's a pretty big sitemap, I'm not gonna lie. How does TanStack start not have a sitemap? What is going on here? Okay, anyway, let's try a different. Go here, and I'm gonna say Next.js docs. Put the whole thing in there. This is probably gonna burn through some OpenAI credits. I think this page might have to be improved a little bit because it's going to have a ton. Ooh, some of the stuff is failing. That's probably an edge case I'll have to handle. Like, I don't think this will ever finish. I think it'll retry them up to 3 times, though. And then also the concurrency is kind of low for this. So I think if I go to convex index, find the work pool, I can actually provide this to give it more concurrent. Max parallelism. I think it's defaults to 10. Let me try 20. If I save this, I don't know if it's going to break. It's kind of like crawling right now, but that should allow it to churn through like 20 different pages at the same time. How long did it take you to vibe code this? This has been maybe 2 or 3 days of vibe coding after work. Can we access the code? Not yet. We'll see. If this thing starts becoming profitable, I'm not open sourcing the code. If this thing fails like all my other projects, I'll probably make it open source. You guys can peek through it. Another monetization revenue I'm debating is you can download the code for like behind a paywall, and then like companies can just host this themselves using their own open AI keys and stuff. Be like a one-time payment or something. But I don't know. I don't know why you guys keep calling AI coding vibe coding. It's just a hype thing. Like, they gotta think of a marketing term to get people to use AI, you know? So vibe coding is like the thing that everyone knows about right now. How much does your crawling cost, though? All the open AI calls probably cost a little bit of money. I have to go and look, but it's probably that crawling the Next.js docs is probably like 10 cents or something, maybe less, I don't know. If you make enough money with your side projects, will you leave your job? I'd have to make a lot of money. But like, if I'm making like 500,000 or more, maybe that's a little bit too much. Like, there's just so much more stuff to consider when it's your own company. Like, you have to pay your different types of taxes. You'd have to buy your own health insurance, life insurance, dental, vision, stuff like that. So I'd have to figure out like what is the, like, how much would it have to make? It is. Oh yeah, my cam froze. Hold on. Actually, my phone died, so I'm gonna actually just switch off to. Oh hey guys. There. I'm too mentally drained to code after work. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I vibe code this stuff. Like, I'm tired after work. I can't think. So then I just prompt AI and like it generates stuff. Too many bytes read in a single function execution. What is this? Whoa, okay. A little bit of debugging. I think it's because we're fetching literally every single page on that. Yeah, I think that's the issue. I could fix this real quick. Like, some stuff is just you don't want to vibe code. Like, I don't want to actually like prompt AI to do this. So I think if I go to the step 3, we're calling get site. We don't want to get site because that's going to download like so much information, I think. No, get page. This is the one, get pages by site ID. Is this called anywhere else? Called on the dashboard, the pages, step 3. I think this needs to not return some stuff. Markdown, HTML. I think there's just a bunch of like additional stuff I'm storing on this. Like the embeddings. I'm just going to strip those out so we don't actually send them over to the front end because they're not really even necessary and it's causing it to crash. Hold on, maybe that's not the issue. Too many bytes read in a single function execution. Consider using smaller limits in your queries, pagination your queries, or using index queries with a selective index range expression. So I think this is causing it to return too much data. But I wonder if there's a way to like not have it. Hey, thank you. Let's see if I can have it just convert this to a convex paginated query, because right now it's failing with this error. No, I didn't paste in the thing. Oh no, I did. I've forgotten how to do this. I think I've done this before. With index, okay. Take limit, continue to collect with cursor. Is that really how you do it? I don't think that's how you do it. Yeah, that's definitely not how you do it. This is something new. I never actually fetched that much data that the convex function breaks. I need to find pagination. Paginated queries. Not paginate, paginate options. Paginating manually. Download. No message cursor. Inoptima cursor loads the. What does it return though? Pagination results. It should have a cursor that it returns. Continue cursor. Yeah, so is this like the results? Pagination results. Continue cursor page. Okay, yeah, let me just do this. I'm going to say refactor this to do a pagination with cursor to fetch all the pages as they. Let's do that. Try this out. I probably need to rethink how I'm structuring this. Like, I think what might be better is a page, like the content of a page could be stored on a separate table so that it's not causing this issue. Like I could have a page context. Because I'm guessing there's a lot of data. Like for every page, it's fetching back all the HTML, all the markdown, and that's going to be probably problematic. This. Pagination results. No, I need you to do it all in the query and return all the pages. Do not return the pagination info to the user. Can the website admin send custom messages into the chat session? Like, can they talk to users directly? Not right now, no. Yo, just got here. I'm doing something with LMs and HTML. Have you had issues with context size? I have. I've hit issues already. You probably have to chunk the HTML into multiple parts. Do you think people will stop using Cursor now that it won't have extension support? I don't know much about it, and use VS Code instead. I have to go and I'm not up to date with that change. I know, like, isn't someone getting sued or something? Whoa, with all this typing, should have speech to text. For some reason, my speech to text just like randomly breaks, but I have vibe coded with speech to text. All right, let's see if this at least fixes it. I think Cursor needs to be null, not 0. As someone pointed out, is done. Okay, this is I don't know if I'm happy with that approach, but let's see if it at least shows. This query mutation function ran multiple paginated queries. Convex only supports a single paginated query in each function. Huh. What does that even mean? Well, I guess this is something I'll fix off the stream. Don't think I've ran into an issue like this before. But I think this is also a sign that I should split up my schema and have the larger things stored elsewhere. Or I could just like not show everything in the UI. That's also something you can do. Like just don't show everything in the UI. Does a user need to know that there's been 1,000 URLs that's crawling? Or could you just show some of them and then show like a total count of like what we're waiting on or something? But I'll fix this off stream. I'm probably gonna actually get off. I've been streaming for like 2 hours now. The company I work for is working on something like this. We've been at it for a year or so, on and off. You seem to have implemented a lot of our functionalities already. I mean, if you want to buy me out, your company could buy me out so they don't have competition, but this is 2 days, 3 days of coding after work. So I'm on a roll, you know? I'm coming for Kappa AI next. What are you using to define the schema? I'm using Convex for my database. Do you vibe code for your office work? I use Cursor a lot for my office work. It's a Django project, and yeah, I mean, like, I guess it'd be silly not to. It'd be silly not to use Cursor and vibe code and stuff. Just wanted to know, technology, do you prefer to use the site TypeScript in the backend? I like Go. If I had an opportunity to work on a Go code base, I'd probably pick that. I think Go is a good language. Have I considered moving to another country? Yeah, I mean, me and my wife were talking about moving to another country where, you know, cost of living would be cheaper. There's just certain meds we need to have access to because my wife's in heart failure. So like there's certain meds that we need to make sure that country has manufacturers or like trade deals with. I don't know what's going on in America, man, but it's getting a little crazy. Have I tried windsurfing? I haven't tried windsurf yet. Convex only allows one paginate per query mutation. Yeah, that'd be problematic. I think this is a problem that I'm actually going to have to not use AI for and ask questions in the Convex Discord. Yeah, I'm not moving there. I'm good. I want to move away from war zones, personally. Like Spain, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland. Do you think vibe coding will do the same to people as something like TikTok, where people no longer have patience for the longer format? I think vibe coding and AI is going to start making people very productive in companies. And you may have one or two engineers who really embrace it and use it to ship features. And those engineers are probably going to be looked at by like upper management as like high performers. And then everyone's basically going to have to fall in a line with like using AI to be more productive. You're always on the chopping block when you work for a company, right? And so you always want to make sure that your output is high enough where you're not on the chopping block. How are you embedding the widget on other site? It's just a JavaScript. It's an embedding. Not an embedding, it's a it's just JavaScript that runs. So basically on your HTML, you just import this. And then that will just inject the widget automatically into the page with some vanilla JavaScript. I tried to keep this as minimal as possible. No third-party dependencies. It's just one JavaScript function or file. And then it just works. I'm not even using a bundler for this. This is legit just a JavaScript file in my publicly hosted service folder. It's super hacky. But again, I'm going to do the widget part later because some people might not even care about the widget. They might want to implement their own chat system with their own stuff. So like this is just like an add-on, I guess. I think you're missing that data privacy for companies overrides productivity. Yeah, but isn't there a way to run these models locally? Like technically you could download like what's the Chinese model? Like I think you could run that locally. You just have to have a decent amount of computer and then hook to that model up. But yeah, I see that is a concern, data privacy. But I guess I would ask, what is in your code base that's so proprietary that you don't want it ever like shipped outside? Like don't keep secrets in your code base. Don't keep .env files. And then I ask, what's in your code that makes it so special? Because I bet you money, if someone were to clone your code base today, they're not going to be able to just like start hacking on it and like do whatever they want with it. No, I'm not Catholic. I'm Seventh-day Adventist. You know, it's one of those 1,000 branches of Christianity. Cursor could probably change the open source extension repo. Yeah, DeepSeek, that's it. I think you should pitch for business to business, which need constant support either for feature info or enterprise pricing. Yeah, I could go down that path. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just building something and then I'll figure out the business thing. I need to think about the business stuff and I need to think about the marketing stuff. If you use enterprise version, then it's fine with data privacy parts. Okay, I misused the previous stream. How do you go about starting the project? What was the prompt like? I always start my projects by hand. Like I don't really let AI build the starting kit. I think I use like the Tanstack CLI tool that spins up a project for you. And then I went and I added like convex, and I used like some CLI tools to set that up. AI sucks on initial projects. Like, do not use AI if you don't have any code. Use AI once you have like the ground foundation of your code base written, and then it'll do much better. Of course, you can also have a company hosted LLM that runs in-house. Oh, that's a good idea. You could actually have like a server running the LLM stuff, and your devs could just share it. That's a cool idea. South Korea is cool. Top tier medical system, cost of living lower, just got language barrier. Yeah, it might be cool to check that, Southeast Asia out. Yeah. All right, well, thank you all for watching. It's been 2 hours. I'm gonna actually end the stream. But yeah, stay tuned. I'm gonna keep on working on this. I'm gonna try to stay focused and just keep building this project out. I think it can go somewhere. I'll keep my fingers crossed. And I appreciate everyone who gave me suggestions in the chat. If I didn't read your questions, I'm sorry. There's just too many at some point. But yeah, keep on letting those suggestions come in, and I will add them to my to-do list. And maybe if I get around to it, I'll add them in. Do you think you can get a good progress for stacks like Django, or do you think JavaScript? I feel like JavaScript. I feel like these AI models have been trained so much more on JavaScript, TypeScript code, but I think you can get it to work with Django. If you can just index the whole Django documentation, I think it can perform pretty well. Anyway, all right, later all. Thank you all for joining. Have a good day. Happy coding.